Alright guys, today's video I want to cover what I thought was the hardest part about turboing the TSX, so let's go ahead and hop right into this video. So first things first, it's been several months and the motor is still not here. I've been waiting on the machine guy for quite some time now. I think it's been like 2 months, and I've been calling him every weekend and it's the same old couple weeks and it'll be ready. So at this point, I don't know, I might start looking for a different shop, but you know, with the pandemic and everything, everything's just been super slow, you guys know. Anyways, it's pretty frustrating, but it is what it is. So still waiting on the machine shop guy to get the motor machined, get the block board out, all that fancy stuff so we can start building that motor. So where we're at right now, obviously a bunch of parts still laying everywhere, ready to get installed. Can't really move forward. Car is super dirty. Look at all the dust that's on the car. So I think I'm gonna take it off the jack, or the jack stands and the blocks. I don't have the other two jack stands, so that's why it's on blocks. Take it outside and give it a quick rinse, and then I'm gonna kind of show you guys what I was talking about. So now that we got this thing outside, I'm probably gonna wait to wash it just because I want to show you guys some things in here, and I am gonna kind of tuck them and tape some stuff off just so I don't get it soaked. But got the daily right here so I can show you guys, kind of going off of OEM because I'm sure that's what most of you guys are starting with. Anyways, what I think is the hardest thing of the turbo build, and this isn't including money, affording stuff, this is strictly you have all the parts. I'm talking installation, and it will vary, but if you're going with the Sidewinder, even the tubular style bottom mount, and from my experience, this is the hardest part of the installation. Not necessarily hard as in needing tools, hard as in it was quite a bit of stuff for me to figure out what to move, where to move it, really time consuming. And if you're really good at doing like a wire tuck, this is no big deal for you. But let me show you on the OEM car, show you guys what you guys are dealing with. So real quick, I do want to say, this was my first turbo build I ever did. I do have years of experience, you know, working on cars and stuff. This was still pretty difficult for me, and difficult as in trial and error, kind of figuring out what parts worked, what parts didn't. So I'm not saying that if you're able to get this manifold on, everything else is just going to be smooth and butter. No, some of it might be harder for you. This is just from my experience the hardest thing for me. Even if you get a kit, it'll make everything so much easier, because this is a custom you know, turbo setup I did. It will make life easier for you. You're still going to have to tuck some wires and move them. So yeah, get some buddies to help you. You got YouTube, the forums, obviously that's what I'm trying to do, trying to help you guys out. I do have experience with working on cars, so a bit easier for me, but as you guys can see, I keep blowing my motors up, so I'm still learning too. So yeah, let's hop right into it. So most people that are going to be turboing their TSX, my guess is you guys are going to go with the stock block. And this, your guys' is probably kept up a little bit better than this thing. But for starters, you're going to have to remove your air box, your brace right here, and get rid of your OEM exhaust. So your manifold obviously comes out right here, and your turbo is going to sit right here. So there's quite a bit of stuff in your way, and I'm kind of going to go over what you can remove and what you're going to just relocate, extend, and make longer. So one of the first things you guys need to decide or figure out is whether you guys are going to have your wastegate coming off the top or off the bottom. And the reason I say that is if it's coming off the bottom like that, most likely you're going to have to replace your OEM, and I don't know what this thing is called, water housing, water jacket, water flange, with this is a hybrid racing. I don't believe they actually make these anymore. I think K-Tune's got another one. It's a slightly different design, but this is what I'm running, and I'll show you guys why. So I actually did run my wastegate on the bottom location, and I am switching over to the top. Gonna have that bad boy sit something like that, just enough to where it clears the hood, and I'm just gonna run a dump pipe out the hood. And the reason I went with that, easier access to these nipples here, because I'm going to be running a 4-port boost controller, and the room down here, at least on my car, there's not a lot of room. I had issues, you know, one of these backed out before. It was a little bit loose, and I had it was so hard to get to, so I just decided to run it on top, and I capped it because down the road I might need to run dual wastegates or possibly just upsize wastegates, because we all know K-Series love to have boost creep. So I just left that clamped, so in the future I can use it. And since I'm running this water jacket, it's got a 90 swivel on it, so my wastegate, if I do run it on the bottom, is clearing it, but it's still very, very tight. I'll show you guys on the OEM car. It's funny how I keep saying OEM, stock, on the stock car. So there's your water jacket. Man, I hope this flashlight doesn't kind of make a bright reflection. There's your water jacket. There's the nipple coming off of it, and there's the hose running to the heater core. So you'll have your turbo sitting roughly right here, and your wastegate pretty much right where my fist is, and it's gonna be hitting against that fitting. So if you run the K-Tune, you can throw a 90 on there, which I have right here, running just a 90. It's kind of going straight down, well, not straight down, a little off to the angle. I lengthened the hose, and for this one it is a 5/8. Make sure you get coolant rated hose, so you probably want to get yourself at least 3 feet. Throw it in on the back side, just leave it long. And then same thing with this one. This is your other coolant hose running off the top part of the heater core, and this one's a little bit bigger, I believe. Let me see if I still have a 3/4. This is a 3/4 hose. So same thing, I would get like 3 feet of it and just run it a bit long, and then you can run it back into your coolant housing. That black hose right there, not black hose, it's a steel line that's running into your water pump or your actual water housing, and I actually shortened mine right at the nipple right there. Let me go find it for you guys. So here it is, and I didn't cut too much off. I think like 2.5 inches, maybe less. Here's the nipple, and this is the part of the coolant line that goes to your throttle body, and I deleted that. it doesn't get cold enough to where I need coolant running through my throttle body. But I cut that off and I cut this a little bit shorter, and same thing, I did it for fitment reasons. So instead of this hard line being there, I just scooted it back a little bit, kind of tucked it, running right in line with the manifold, and I'm able to run my coolant line, you know, kind of slightly down right after that point. So it gave me a little bit more room. Also, here's the other end for the throttle body. Obviously you got an in and an out, and this is where my other one would go, but I have it deleted. This is just a plug. I'm not running the throttle body coolant, so I got that. Well, no, this was capped, my bad. This is what's running to the lower part of the heater core. I tapped into here so I could feed my turbo now. So this is what would have been feeding my throttle body. I had it capped, and now I'm running a fitting that is running into my turbo, cooling it off with water. So next you have all these vacuum lines. You got this one running off of the manifold. Go ahead and remove this metal piece right here and just throw it away. And this goes to your brake booster, and this other one right here, that would be your fuel line. I would recommend either from that point where your hard line ends and it goes over to well, there's actually plastic line under this rubber. I would recommend running a braided hose from there, and you could run like a 90 or a 45 and kind of run it around either on this side or this way. But if you run it along the firewall there, you can tuck it up further back in there, get it away from the heat of the manifold, and it'll clean this up right here, because this is 100% in your way for running a sidewinder. This right here, go ahead and just throw all this away. Well, you can keep it, but get it out of the car. And what size is this? 11/32? No, I guess I could check on my car. Anyways, you're going to get the right size, and you're just going to run a long one from there all the way to here, and get it long, like 5 feet long, 4 feet long. That way you can play with it, take it where you want it, whatever looks cleaner and better for you. Here's mine right here, and mine's about 4 feet long. Let's see if I got a size on it. Of course there isn't. Another very important thing is you need a one-way valve on here. And what a one-way valve is, your brake booster runs off of vacuum. So you need vacuum in order to get the brakes to work. But once you go under boost, since it's coming off of your manifold right here, it's going to be adding positive pressure into your brake booster, and you do not want that. So you want a one-way check valve so it can suck this way, but it cannot send pressurized air into your brake booster. And I've got mine kind of running something like this. It's just kind of running low, tucked under all this, and going back into the manifold. Alright, what else do we got here? So, this guy right here, there's this black little doodad on it right there, and it's kind of all swirly twirly, and it's running to a little box where it comes in at a 90, and it's coming in the bottom of this metal rail. So this is your breather for your fuel tank. It just breathes in the vapors. I think it runs on vacuum when you're, I believe when you're idling, and then when you accelerate it closes. This guy right here, you don't need any of this here. You can go ahead, unplug that, get rid of it. Let me see real quick, where does that other end go? This other end is a vacuum right here. So you wouldn't want to just, you know, leave it capped or leave it unplugged right there, because you are going to be getting vapors into your cabin. So there's a couple things you can do. You can run a hose from there, kind of under your fenders or something, or go into your fuel tank, kind of under your car, and cut it there and run a line under the car, somewhere up and out of the way. Or you can keep it. You can extend these hoses and leave them longer. I never really liked that thing being there. If you do unplug it, you're going to get a code, I believe. But if you get rid of these hoses, route it a different way, you can leave this thing plugged in and kind of tuck it down in the bottom, zip tie it somewhere, so it's out of your way and you won't have a code. So there's mine right now. I'm actually in the process of figuring out where I want to take it. This might be one of those trial and error things. I think I already got a hose running right there, kind of tucked up behind the firewall. And I was going to run it just underneath the car, kind of down at the bottom, and hopefully if it's pointed down at the bottom, the breeze is kind of going to take away the fumes. But again, trial and error, so we'll see. If it stinks too much, I'll get rid of it, or just plug it back in how it was and just lengthen these hoses up. So I don't have that one quite figured out yet. And then moving on to kind of your electrical here, I just unplugged everything off of the firewall. Got a whole bunch of clips, zip ties and stuff that are holding everything here. I removed as much brackets, zip ties and fittings as I could, and just followed everything along the firewall, removing all the zip ties. And as you guys can see right here, I pulled down this piece of firewall and stuck the wiring under there. It's actually where my fuel line's coming out as well. And just tucked everything back. It's kind of loose right now because I disconnected some of the zip ties. But once I get my manifold in here and it's all heat wrapped, everything is just tucked back as far as I can and still have enough length on my plugs to get plugged in everywhere where they need to. My neighbor's over there throwing a rager, seems like. Might need to go over there and ask him for some cervezas. But yeah, it's pretty dirty right now. I've got all of this tape I gotta rip off and redo. Looks kind of crusty. So as you guys can see, right there's a bracket. That thing's not needed. Once you lengthen all these hoses, there's just no need for it. Then moving on right here, you'll have all of this out of the way because you won't be running the custom, or not the custom, sorry, your stock airbox. You're going to be running a custom setup. And this plastic right here, as you can see, there's little tabs on it. I pried that apart and I took all of that off. I mean, just look how bulky it is. There's another bracket on it, if you guys can see right there. That's out of the way. Everything's loose and taped all back together. I forgot which exact part. I think it was something right here, and I just heat taped everything together, and everything's falling apart and it's sitting around loose for half a year now. That'll happen. But yeah, once you get it all loose, you don't have to do it exactly how I did it, but I would suggest just getting everything disconnected, get longer sections of hose, and just lay everything out. Like your vacuum line, you can even do your vapor line, your two heater lines, coolant lines. Just bring them out, lay them over the fender. You'll have quite a bit of this stuff disconnected too. You can lay it out, install your manifold, install your turbo, and then start just getting everything back in, your wiring, your coolant lines, and just kind of go from there. Plug it in, see if you like it. If not, you can move it, you know, go around stuff, under stuff, zip tie it, shorten it. Pretty much that's how I did it, and it worked for me. So yeah, it was kind of a nightmare because I went through like several lengths of hose, cut it too short and didn't like it, had it actually touching the bottom of the hot side of the turbo, damn near melted it. So yeah, it was fun, but I think I'm at that point to where this is all kind of figured out for me. I'm actually running a T right here for my coolant on my turbo from one side, and then the other section of hose I showed you guys on my water jacket. That's my other feed into the turbo. So yeah, that's it. So I know the video made it seem super simple and pretty easy, but honestly for me that was probably the most difficult part. Bolting everything else up was fairly easy. Obviously I don't know how to tune my own car, so that's out of the question. But for me, the installation part, that was the hardest part. I think even the motor was a bit easier for me. There's so much information out there on building K-Series. Obviously I blew one up, but you know, it's all good. Building another one. So yeah, overall, I would say that's the hardest part for me. So I hope that video kind of helped you guys. I know quite a bit of you guys been asking me what I did with my coolant lines. Hopefully that explains it for you guys. It's a little bit more information than I had. But yeah, if you guys are turboing your guys' cars, good luck. Most of you guys, I imagine, are doing stock motors, and a lot of people have really good luck with that. I'm not your guy. My luck's ran out, but yeah, it's really fun. It kind of wakes up the car, makes it really fun. 100% get LSD, because if you're doing one wheel peels, the only thing you're going to enjoy out of that car is the sound it makes. Even with LSD, don't expect this thing to be, you know, a 2,000 pound, you know, Civic hatch. It's still a heavy sedan, but it's a lot of fun. So good luck with your guys' builds. Hopefully my block comes in here in a little bit, and we can continue putting this thing together. So real quick before we end this video, guys, for those of you guys who have been watching me, or anybody who's new and watching this, obviously welcome towards the end of the video. If there's any suggestions you guys would want to make on what I could do in the time being before I get my block, maybe change something with the interior. I do want to get custom metal pedals on here. I'm rocking the OEM ones. The radio, the center section, the climate controls isn't done. Obviously the car needs a good cleaning. The reason I didn't do this is kind of quite a bit of work to take this out. Well, more work than I wanted to do at the time. And I wasn't sure how I felt about all of the red carbon fiber. As you guys can see, there's some creases and stuff right there. So I might just pull all this out and hydro dip it. Just thinking possibly get all my chrome trims in black, all of this in black, possibly paint the rims black. I don't know, but if there's any suggestions you guys want to make, or another video I could make without my block, go ahead and drop that down below. As always, go ahead and like this video, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.